After that day, MC found himself at the park, shooting hoops to ease the stress from studying. After landing a clean shot, he held his arm up, still feeling a little uncertain about playing basketball again. But he shrugged it off, it wasn't a big deal. Not long after, Kamashiro showed up, full of energy. She declared that her warm-up was done and she was ready to jump in. MC was surprised she actually came along, and for a moment, he wondered if inviting her had been a smart idea. Soon, a group of older guys rolled onto the court and called out to MC. Their leader, Hayakuma, greeted him. It had clearly been a while. MC introduced Kamashiro, explaining that these were university players he'd known since middle school and they'd been playing together ever since. Kamashiro was polite and friendly, but things took an awkward turn when one of the guys jokingly asked if she was MC's girlfriend. Flustered, she quickly denied it, which only led to more teasing, with the guys suggesting they might still be figuring things out. Then, out of nowhere, MC casually joked that Kamashiro was his dog. She was completely stunned. The guys immediately picked up on it, throwing in their own jokes about how far along their relationship must be if they were already doing stuff like that. Kamashiro panicked and tried to clear things up, but MC kept it going by calling himself a stray dog without even a collar. In a burst of desperation, Kamashiro blurted out that her name was officially listed on the Kamashiro family pedigree, which left everyone momentarily speechless, now seriously wondering if she really was a dog or not. Finally, MC clarified that they were just classmates. Kamashiro followed up by introducing herself properly, saying she knew how to play basketball and had just come out to get some exercise with him. Hayakuma smirked, realizing that MC hadn't changed a bit. Soon after, Hayakuma invited both of them to join their game since they were already there. MC and Kamashiro agreed, and the match kicked off. As they played, everyone was clearly impressed by MC's skills. He found himself lost in the game, more excited than he expected. It felt different from the usual club matches. This time, it was just for fun. Shot after shot, he realized how good it felt to simply enjoy playing again, and that simple feeling was enough to make him glad. Later, Hayakuma and the others said their goodbyes, mentioning how much fun they'd had and suggesting they play again sometime. Once MC and Kamashiro were alone, she asked if he was heading home. But he shook his head, saying he wanted something sweet. With a calm but oddly determined expression, he announced that he wanted a crepe. So the two of them went off to grab one. While they ate, Kamashiro couldn't help but feel like the moment resembled a casual date. Then, as if reading her mind, MC suddenly said that he'd hate going on a date with someone who smelled bad, leaving Kamashiro completely caught off guard. On the way home, Kamashiro brought up how she never expected MC to have friends like the ones they'd just played with, to which he replied that she didn't know everything about him, sparking her desire to learn more. She confessed the day felt nostalgic, like reliving their middle school days, and being with him made her genuinely happy. MC admitted he had fun too, a rare feeling lately. Kamashiro, with childlike excitement, offered to be his manager and suggested they play again, but MC's mood turned serious. He warned her again not to act like this was some way to make up for past mistakes. Kamashiro insisted it wasn't, she just wanted to see him doing what he loved, even if it was selfish. But MC confessed he lacked any real motivation or purpose now. He'd grown comfortable in the laid-back routine of the go-home club. Still, as he watched Kamashiro, he couldn't ignore that she was different. People relied on her, her smile had once saved him, and maybe many others too. Yet recently, she barely smiled at all. Suddenly, she hugged him from behind, admitting she liked him and didn't want him to leave. Back then, she hadn't even understood why she hurt him. MC, confused, asked what she meant, and Kamashiro simply held his hand, saying despite all the cruel things she'd said, he still protected her, and that was why she was standing there now. It wasn't guilt or obligation, she still had feelings for him. Placing his hand on her heart, she asked if he could feel her sincerity, but MC brushed it off, teasing that it was probably just exercise. Kamashiro pushed back the firm, emotional, telling him to stop dodging her feelings. He pulled away, still unsure how to process her closeness, yet in a small gesture of care, wiped a bit of cream off her cheek. She laughed, she'd been waiting for him to notice. Then she brought up his old reason for playing basketball and gently asked if she could become his new reason. Placing his hand back on her chest, she said she didn't want this moment to end, not now, when they were finally connecting. MC, flustered, asked if this motivation included getting physically close, and Kamashiro, bold and unwavering, said she didn't mind if that's what it took. Placing his hand on her cheek, she told him again, this wasn't a lie or redemption, just her honest feelings. And MC, for all his cynicism about love, shaped by a lost childhood crush and his own mother's divorce, sat quietly, wondering if anything ever truly lasted, if love was even real in a country where 35% of marriages failed. Looking out the window, he felt the weight of that reality, yet couldn't ignore the warmth of the girl holding on to him with such sincerity. Just as MC was deep in thought, Himyama suddenly entered the room, announcing with a bright smile that she'd finally finished moving her things, her real reason for inviting him over. She brought coffee and cakes, cheerfully asking him to pick his favorite, then casually dropped how happy she was to have run into him again. But MC couldn't forget how she'd randomly grabbed his arm that day after school, just like now, sitting way too close, clearly trying to seduce him. Uncomfortable, he shifted away, citing sweat as an excuse, but Himyama brushed it off with a flirty "I don't mind," making him mentally scream, "Read the room, woman." He knew he should leave before getting dragged deeper into this quicksand, but the cozy scent of the room and her presence chipped away at his resistance, freezing him in place. After all, ignoring a beautiful woman wasn't exactly his strongest skill. His mind flashed back to his mom on Parents' Day, her beauty so overwhelming that he'd stared only at the blackboard the entire time. Yeah. As the conversation turned to Himyama's ex-fiancé, MC pressed her with real questions. She grew quiet but eventually admitted she once loved him, but some situations just can't be solved by love. They'd parted ways. When MC asked if she'd really let go of her feelings, she said no, she had simply given up. That answer lingered in his chest like a slow-burning ache, and he confessed he couldn't imagine ever loving someone enough to feel that kind of pain. Noticing his inner conflict, Himyama gently patted his head, advising him not to worry about such things. He was still a student, after all, but warned that some wounds, and some priorities, never truly fade. Her words rattled him so much that he had to excuse himself to gather his thoughts. Later, as he sat down for dinner at her place, still emotionally fogged, Himyama reappeared, this time in a revealing outfit that barely counted as clothing, practically weaponized to destroy his sanity. His whole body tensed up as she leaned in, teasing him with flirtatious energy, and when she asked if she looked good, he had no choice but to admit she did. His composure began to crumble as she pressed further, suggesting something inside him had already cracked. That was it, MC couldn't take it anymore. He bolted, overwhelmed, desperate to escape. Stumbling home in a daze, he muttered something about how clothing would be the death of him before heading straight to the bathroom for a cold shower, leaving his mom watching him with suspicion, silently questioning whether this so-called neighbor was really just a neighbor after all. Her thoughts wandered to her son, MC, and the strange, quiet bond they shared. If he had any charm with women, she figured it probably came from her, though she couldn't help but admit she'd only ever given him a fraction of the love he truly needed. Her demanding job often stole away her time. She'd leave early, return late, and before she realized it, MC had stopped sharing anything with her. His older sister Yuri had been there for him, sure, but she was just a child herself. Then came the incident with Yuri, the event that fractured everything. After that, MC changed. His words, his emotions, they disappeared behind a wall. His eyes grew distant, dark, and unreadable, like he'd already shut the world out. She remembered visiting his school once, how the other children smiled and waved at their mothers, while MC didn't even turn his head. The memory left a deep sting, but she knew she couldn't blame anyone but herself. Still, no matter how far he drifted, she was his mother, and that was something she refused to give up on. Her love, however flawed, was all she had to offer. That love, unfortunately, came out in the most awkward moments, like when she suddenly stepped into the shower with him, insisting it wasn't strange, claiming they used to bathe together all the time. MC froze, his brain short-circuiting as she casually offered to wash the back of his head like this was just another family routine. It's kinda JoJo situation. Completely overwhelmed, he snapped, yelling that he couldn't even have peace in his own house. And honestly? He had a point.